Prince and Barty, we are back. Episode 127, man. What's going on, man? A lot to talk about, a lot to dive into. How you doing, man?
I'm good, man. I'm ready. Let's knock it out. Let's kill it. It's another episode. This weekend was like the Super Bowl in sports, so it's a lot to talk about.
Man, let's get right to it. Terrence Bud Crawford, man, made history beating Canelo, Saul Alvarez, man. It was a great fight. Like I've been saying before, in my lifetime, Bud's one of the most technical and skilled fighters we've ever seen. Likened to Bernard Hopkins of that nature, just a very technically sound fighter. Obviously we saw Floyd. When we say technically sound, what do we mean? We mean southpaw. He can switch up different styles. He picks apart your strategy in the middle of the fight. He made Canelo look dumb, man. I haven't seen Canelo Alvarez look like that in some time, man. How he was just had a counter for everything Canelo wanted to do. As you watching that fight, I know a lot of people was high on Canelo, but if you're a true boxing fan and enthusiast, Canelo's last 3 to 5 fights, he looked suspect, man. It went 12 rounds with guys that shouldn't win 12 rounds with. He just didn't have that Canelo pop. Now, he's been fighting. That's what his 270th fight or something like that. He's been fighting since he was 15 years old. So it's a lot of tread, a lot of miles on them tires, man. But from your assessment, watching the masterful work of Bernard Hopkins, man, it was a crazy performance. What was your thoughts?
We had conversations off air. I've had conversations with other people, and Bud Crawford is the greatest technical fighter we've ever seen. There's no one who's a better technical fighter than him, which elevates him in the pantheon of great fighters. He is a top three, top two fighter of all time. He amassed so many belts. He's done so many great things for the game of boxing. He deserves his flowers today. So if I had to say how I felt towards after seeing the fight, masterpiece, Picasso, Leonardo da Vinci of the technical fighters. Canelo's a great fighter as well, but what we saw was when you're in a class by yourself, can't nobody beat you.
That's a fact. I think too with Bud, what's interesting is he has no cheat codes, right? When we say cheat codes, what do we mean? Canelo, he's Mexican, so he'll fight on Mexican independence. He'll fight on Cinco de Mayo. It's literally Bud just coming to the with his hard hat and his lunch pail. It's from Omaha, Nebraska. It's no frills, bro. And I think for me, I love fighters that just stand on business. He not coming with $50,000 in a duffel bag. He not wearing Louis, like he not coming out there like with the Floyd of it all, and he not using the Canelo showmanship with his country. It's just him. He been doing this since what 2012, or it's probably sooner, like 2008, possibly from the amateur ranks. Bud's been in this game for a long time, and I think for the doubters, he shuts you up on both sides, right? Because you could be like, oh, Canelo's older. Bud's older than Canelo. That's one. And two, Bud went up two and a half weight classes to fight him. So Canelo had the youth on his side and he had the weight on his side. And Bud just made him look silly. I think my concern going into this fight was, can Bud take these shots from Canelo? Canelo has one of the hardest body shots we've seen. His feints are some spectacular. But Bud ate them things up like a five-piece chicken biscuit, man. He caught all them punches. He ate all them punches like it was nothing, man. I thought Errol Spence was a master class. You put Canelo Alvarez, like you made him look like you was playing with your little nephews in the backyard, man. It was crazy to see.
Yeah, it definitely was crazy to see, man. And all we can do is just take our hat off to Bud. Bud did what he was supposed to. Question for you: is he greater than Floyd? Is he greater than Sugar Ray? Is he greater than Ali?
Man, I think what makes him interesting is he doesn't have the fanfare of everybody you just named. Like, think about Ali, he's arguably the greatest, he's done so much for civil rights, right? Floyd Mayweather, he's the Cash Money Records, Birdman of he showed you how to get money, right? You know, Sugar Ray Leonard, same thing. Kind of more, I would say he leans more to Sugar Ray, where Sugar Ray was kind of getting his work done, getting it done in the ring, not as flashy as the other guys you name. But man, you got to respect Bud. I'm gonna give you a comparison. You know who Bud kind of reminds me of? If he didn't get injured and kept winning, he reminds me of a Kawhi Leonard. And follow me when I say this. He's like stoic, where he doesn't speak, his game talks. Where like he'll leave the John Wall doing the Dougie, LeBron doing his dances, whoever else, where I'm gonna come in here and get my business done. Few people have that. You got Tim Duncan who has that. You got Dame Lillard, even though Dame Lillard wasn't able to win a championship, he still has that demeanor of Dame not kikiing with you, he's not laughing. I'm gonna come fight, play ball for my family, go home to my family. And I respect Bud for that. He doesn't get caught up in none of the nonsense. Cause I mean, after that Earl Spence fight, Bud could literally be out here with fur coats and kind of really popping it. But he stayed, he gave you another fight. He fought a heavyweight in the Rider season thing last time, where to me, he looked kind of suspect. It didn't look as promising. So coming into this fight, I didn't know what Bud we were gonna get, but he was in the best shape of his life, man. Prepared, had an answer for everything Canelo wanted to throw. What was interesting too with the Canelo thing is Canelo doesn't throw any jabs. So for Canelo to be that great and doesn't use his jab, it's either dumb on his end or he's a savant. To be able to be a fighter on that level and not throw your jab to set up other things you want to do is kind of crazy. Because you look at the Holyfields, you look at Lennox Lewis, they literally stopped Mike Tyson with a jab. Not knockouts, but a jab, like really stymied Mike Tyson. So yeah, salute to Bomac, his longtime trainer, man. Salute to Omaha. I actually was in Omaha like twice this year, which is random. He the pride of Omaha, man. Free beers, free shots for the rest of Bud Crawford's life, man. Salute to Bud Crawford and the whole team. But I want to get into the party report, man. I've been, big NFL weekend. I know you happy, got your win over the Chiefs. But let's talk these injuries, man. Obviously Brock Purdy, Joe Burrow out with a turf toe, possibly out multiple weeks. When you look at these injuries to these quarterbacks so early, what's your mindset and how does that affect everything they got going on?
I was on social media earlier this morning and I saw something that kind of resonated with me. We like to denigrate Joe Burrow because what he doesn't have. And I sat back and thought about it. I says the problem with Joe Burrow isn't Joe Burrow. Problem with Joe Burrow isn't his defense. Problem is the Cincinnati Bengals organization. He comes in one year, he gets injured. The second year, he shows you he can be in a class of Patrick Mahomes. The third year, he gets injured. The fourth year, he gets into a class of he can be in the class with the all-time greats. It's a pattern. Every year, he's great, he's hurt. He's great, he's hurt. He's great, he's hurt. Is Cincinnati going to realize that your quarterback needs protection? You put all this money into Higgins, you put all this money into Jamar, you put all this money into Chase, you put all this money into Hendrickson, but you don't fortify your O line. When Patrick Mahomes went to the Super Bowl and was running for his life, Andy Reid said, we need to get this man an O line, and he won 3 Super Bowls. You look at Jalen Hurts, he had similar things as well. Injuries, he got an O line, he won a Super Bowl. I don't understand the Cincinnati Bengals. A lot of these organizations think that you're going to win with the great quarterback. You don't have an offensive line if you don't have protection. I mean, it's the same thing. Prince, for you guys don't know, man, Prince has a castle, a beautiful home, right? But also, Prince has security. He has security. He makes sure his house is secure. His wife is protected. His family is protected. Everything in his home is protected because he knows I can have all these nice things, but if it's not protected, then they ain't safe. Cincinnati and these organizations, all these quarterbacks keep getting hurt because they don't have protection. There was a movie that we watched with Sandra Bullock about our offensive line. Michael Orr talked about the left tackle. They need to fortify their left tackle. and we won't be having these conversations.
But let me ask you this, right? And this is a real question. I know we got a sports show. We're sports fans. Everything you're saying seems common sense, right? And it's guys who make a lot more money than us. They can't come to grips with that. When you look at kind of, and don't get this is no shade. I respect Howie Roseman. I respect how the Eagles' infrastructure. But if we're being honest, they're just doing common sense stuff. Who's the best running back available? Let me get Saquon. Let me make sure he's happy. Let me make sure that we have an offensive line. Let me make sure my skill put like it just seems if you're playing fantasy GM, it's the obvious. So why do these NFL owners and teams they don't do the obvious? They don't protect their assets. So it's like you pay T. Higgins, like you said, you pay Joe Burrow, you pay Chase, but you're not protecting them. So it's almost like you get a Ferrari Ace and you don't have no car insurance on it. And you ride in 120 miles per hour on 95 all day, every day. And shocked if a rock give you a spider web on your windshield. Like you're shocked. So yes, you're gonna get turf toe. This man was getting tackled in the preseason. You saw that. So it's mind-boggling to me, man. But you know, what bad luck for another man is great luck for another. You look at Drew Bledsoe, Tom Brady. Are we looking at the resurgence of one Mac Jones? Mac Jones looking good, man. Mac Jones, Mac Jones. Is Mac Jones back?
Shanahan is the quarterback whisperer. He puts them in a position to always play good. I think he could have threw you back there and you would
Uh-oh.
be a good quarterback. No disrespect, no disrespect, but that's just what it is. So I think Mac Jones is a good quarterback, but he's not a great quarterback. He's just in a system that's working. You could put anybody in the system and make it work. Purdy doesn't have the strongest arm, but he looks good in that system. So if you put a quarterback and you just have dink and dunk and you have running plays that get you 5 and 6 yards, and Mac Jones is going to look like the great Mac Jones.
No, I agree, man. But it's a lot going on in the league, man. Let's start with these Steelers, man. They looked so crazy yesterday. You know, I know we were speaking high level from their last week's win, but they turned into a pumpkin again, man. What do you think about the Steelers? Is it something to worry about? Nothing to worry about? Does your outlook change on all the Steelers with their performance this week?
Week 1, they played the Jets. Everybody got excited because they played the Jets. They played a better defense in week 2, and all their flaws was highlighted. This is not a playoff squad. This is not a winning organization. Those days are done. So they tried to start a franchise with a geriatric quarterback. They didn't make any moves for nobody. They didn't go after Sam Darnold. They didn't go after Geno Smith. They had Russell Wilson. They had all these Bobo quarterbacks. And then now all of a sudden, they get Aaron Rodgers. They win the game, and they're like, oh, the Steelers may win the division. They lose, and now they're in a tie again with the Ravens for number 1. It shows who they are and what they're dependent on. I think that Tomlin's is going to have the same send-off as Bill Belichick. He was a great coach, but he's not making all the GM decisions. Someone else is making those decisions. And now we can't blame Tom. We can GM the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Nah, for sure, man.
You know what I want to talk about, though? I want to talk about the rematch. And the reason why I want to talk about the rematch is we love to blame Patrick Mahomes. We love to blame Andy Reid. But what I saw yesterday was Travis Kelsey was open in the end zone. He juggled a pass, it got intercepted, and that's what changed the game. You said this to me a long time ago because it's a statement that we've heard from great rappers, from great actors, from great stars all over the world. You have to keep the main thing the
Oh,
main thing.
yeah. Oh,
I'm
yeah.
not blaming Taylor Swift. I'm not blaming Taylor Swift. I'm not blaming New Heights because we have a podcast too. But when you're doing so many different things, your focus is not on the field. Then, of course, age and attrition is coming to play. You are not the Travis Kelsey 5, 10 years ago. So your mind, your mental has to be solid. If your mental ain't solid, it shows on the field. You're screaming at people on the sidelines. You're screaming, let's go. You're happy Thornton caught that touchdown because you thought he bailed you out. But then at the end of the day, The Eagles knew how to do what they had to do how to do better than you knew what you had to do. And right now, that loss is on Travis Kelsey.
No, I agree, man. It's fun, man. I swear you, we the same for real. I was watching that with the wife, and I was like, you see, you can have all the distractions and do all these things. Like, it reminds me kind of the Dennis Rodman thing where, Phil was like, hey, man, go to Vegas, go ahead and put your wedding dress on, whatever you want to do, but still give me them 18 rebounds. And Rodman did that. Rodman was never, which is kind of crazy though. The life Rodman lived, it never affected his on court play, his productivity. Kelsey got to make a decision, man. Are you Mr. Swift or are you an all-time great tight end? And I think he's done it all. His legacy's somewhat cemented, I would say, but you don't want to go out bad and sad like this. Patrick Mahomes could play another 10, 15 more years. He's in it for the long hunt, whether you're here or it's going to be another tight end. Here's what's interesting about the game though, and how great Andy Reid is, right? You don't have a lot of your key people. You don't have Rice, right? You don't have Worthy, but you still put a solid game plan to contain Saquon, to kind of eliminate AJ Brown and really kind of contain the Eagles offensively for the most part. But
Mhm.
if you don't have 3 key drops, you probably win that game. You went for it on 4th down a few times, didn't get it. If you kick that field goal and tie it up at 13, the game looks different even then. And I'm surprised they didn't take the points when it was 13-10, and they went for it. And they got the first, but then, like you said, it goes back to Kelsey. And remember, last week, Kelsey was mad that he's what hurt Worthy. You know what
That's
I
true.
mean? So Kelsey just messing up all the way around, and it's
He's
interesting,
getting
man.
he's getting a check. He's getting a check. That money could go towards defense. That money could go towards another receiver. It's important. You're getting paid to do a job, so do your job. Let's stay on the field real quick, man. Let's stay on the football field real quick. I want to talk about the Miami Dolphins.
My God.
Now, I remember maybe a month ago, and I'm not petty. I'm not. Prince isn't petty either. But I remember a month ago, I gotta defend my counterpart. This is my partner, man. This is what we do. We Batman and Robin. You guys was at his throats talking about the Dolphins are gonna be a playoff team. The Dolphins are gonna win 10-9 games. And Prince said, I don't see it. Not only do you lose to the Colts, you lose to the Patriots in a shocking fashion. Mike McDaniel's on the hot seat, as we said. Tyreek Hill might be traded, like we said. Dolphins ain't winning 9 games. I'm just saying, I'm not trying to be funny. I'm not throwing shade, but there's a story in the Bible where they say the handwriting is on the wall. So now we're seeing the handwriting on the wall. We've told you about McDaniels. We've told you about Stephen Ross being a bonehead owner. As we just said earlier in this podcast, it doesn't make sense when you don't know what to do with a team. It's simple. Offensive line, defensive line wins championships. Mike Broussard, I mean, not Mike, Chris Broussard calls you guys break dancers because you can't stand in a fight. You always want to be dancing and running and playing. I mean, we're looking at the demise of the Miami Dolphins. Prince, you have the floor.
No, I appreciate you, big dog, man. You know me. I can get a little petty when it's time. I could turn into Petty Murphy on them. Don't get it twisted. But I'm definitely getting that $100. I got to figure out what I want to do. If I want to do something personal or do something for the kids. So that's all I'm kind of worried about now. But it's bad. I post if you go on the Prince and Barty story, you'll see Tua pretty much overthrows Tyreek Hill, and Tyreek Hill just throws his hands up like, bro, who is this guy? Like it's all bad, bro. It's all bad. And I think what makes it sad, us like growing up out here and our sports experience doesn't come from the Dolphins, like going to big Dolphin games or things of that nature. So we have no respect for them as an organization that way. Your biggest highlight is obviously the 72 Dolphins and Dan Marino. You know, from there, there's nothing else, you guys could lean your hat on. You guys have some great players, great defensive players, things of that nature, but There's no culture or identity. And one thing about the Heat have Heat culture. They have an identity. What's the Dolphins' identity? The guy who had identity, brought identity was Brian Flores. And you see what he's doing now. And your quarterback, who you're eventually probably going to move on from, didn't like Flores. And that's why y'all got rid of him. And now look at your quarterback and now look at Flores is doing. It's just bad decisions all around, man. And I think you stop the bleeding as quick as possible. Kind of think about is Arch Manning coming on? Like think about the quarterbacks through the draft and kind of see what you could get for Tyreek Hill right now. I think now's the time to trade Tyreek Hill, get some defensive pieces, probably get a backup, and kind of build your team going forward. Because as your team and personnel stands, you cannot compete with the AFC like right now. That's Josh. That's our boys. That's our boys division for the rest of his career, man. It's going through Buffalo, Orchard Park.
Speaking of that, let's segue there. The great Chris Berman says no one circles the wagon like the Buffalo Bills. They blow out the Jets, the same team that Pittsburgh went in a shootout with. We're seeing that no matter who you throw down there, if you got Micah Hyde, if you have all these great players they've had on the defense, they had Von Miller at some point in time, they had Bruce Smith on that defense years back. Sean McDermott, he takes out great players and puts in regular players, and they still don't miss a beat. Yeah, last week they played against Lamar, but we're talking about one of the greatest offenses in the league. To see what Sean McDermott is doing with that defense, to see what Josh is doing with the offense, when their best receiver's name is Kincaid. Of course, Cook looks like a beast, one of the best running backs in the league. I'd probably say he's top 5 running back in the league. Is the Bills the class of the NFL, or are we taking the field?
I'm gonna be honest with you, man. Those are great points. Like, I don't know how they do it. It's almost like when Patty won with Juju and them boys, but it just goes to show you game plan. It's like what they say, next man up. It's having your guys prepared to go out there and perform. Because 9 times out of 10, every time I see Josh Allen play, I'm like, how is he doing it? It reminds me of like a young John Elway, like the years where the Broncos weren't that great and he was still putting everybody on his back. You remember how John Elway used to run and get hit by Ronnie Lott, just taking abuse and punishment for the W. That's how I look at Josh Allen. He's a true throwback. Ironically, though, here's what's crazy. If you give him a superstar type player, I don't even know if that makes him better. We've seen it with Diggs. They tried to get Amari Cooper. It just didn't work. But when you give him time to throw, like you said, invest in an offensive line. And I can't bet against Josh Allen because you couldn't tell me that. I thought Lamar was going to blow him out last week. So every time I think like, Josh Allen, he don't got the personnel, he finds a way to win. And I think out of every quarterback in the league, I don't think any team is behind their quarterback like they're behind Josh Allen. They love that man. Like you could tell they want to fight for him. They'll run through a wall for him. I feel the same way for Lamar, but it's different. But Josh Allen, he's that dude, man, MVP. And I don't know, the way the AFC's looking, the way the NFC's looking, there's no world beaters. Obviously you guys still look good, but you guys still have a lot of flaws, right? So this is one of the years where it's truly open. I don't last year y'all were dominated so much. I'm like, oh, the Eagles got this. This year, I don't know who can win it. It's generally open, and it hasn't been like that in the league for a minute. You'd have to correct me if I'm wrong, but I think the AFC is wide open, and I think the NFC is a conversation.
I agree with you. The AFC is wide open. With my Eagles, the thing what I would say is this: we're squeaking out wins, tough wins. We beat the Cowboys, we beat the Chiefs, and people don't realize this. We don't have direction on offense. The offensive coordinator doesn't know what he's doing. Clearly, you can see that. There's things that's happening, but shout out to Kellen Moore. He ran a great offense with Ezekiel Elliott. He ran the offense with Saquon Barkley. This coordinator, he's never been a coordinator before. He's been a position coach, but he's never ran an offense. And it's seen. You saw it yesterday where Steve Spagnuolo was playing chess versus Philly, and the only reason why Philly won was because of that O-line. We only won that game because we didn't turn the ball over and because the O-line was the best unit on the field.
Right.
We lost two pieces on offensive line, but you can say what you want. The Philadelphia Eagles offensive line is Dallas Cowboy-esque from the 90s.
Right.
You can't do anything with them. Saquon only had 88 yards, but we still ran for 122 yards. You saw after the game, and I want to ask you about that. That's a very funny point. I don't know if you've seen the tape, but it's a tape going all over social media where Chris Jones is standing at the line before Philly kneels the ball. And he says to Saquon, "You didn't run 100 yards." And then Jalen Hurts says, "We got the blink and win." And that's all that matters,
Yeah.
right? Yeah. And so it is Kansas City players coming undone because I don't see Patty coming undone. I don't see Andy coming undone. And Andy even said this loss is on me. Patty or that they always give the correct answers. But in my opinion, Chris Jones and Kelsey, they're coming undone. I think that the Chiefs should trade both those guys away and focus just on building around Patty and that offensive line. Because to me, I just don't see where their heads in the game. You shouldn't even be making that statement that we held him under 100. You held him under 100 in the Super Bowl and you still lost. So what was that? Yeah, you held them under the Super Bowl and you still lost. So if you did that, then literally, why are you opening your mouth? Like the thing what I hate about this thing is this. For me, an Eagles fan, to have sympathy on Patrick Mahomes, you wouldn't expect that. But I have too much sympathy. I feel sorry for the dude because he's doing everything he can. He ran for 67 yards. He threw for 187. The pick was not his fault. You guys could not stop the Eagles in key possessions. They scored on key possessions, and we all know this. You know, we always talk about it. We say, "Well, yeah, LeBron, you had 30, 10, and 10, but on the 2 minute period, you turned the ball over, or you made the wrong pass when you should have went to the hole." And that's what I'm seeing with the Chiefs is that mental lapse. Chris Jones, mental lapse. Travis Kelsey, mental lapse. Receivers dropping balls. Mental lapse, you getting upset and arguing with the refs is what's causing you these games. And if Kansas City's not careful, I'm be honest with you, you're gonna say I'm tripping, Prince, but their season is on the line next Sunday. If they go into the Meadowlands, or I think the game's in Kansas City, if the Giants go into Kansas City and they're able to sack Patrick Mahomes a bunch of times, and for some reason or another, the Giants are able to move the ball like they moved it on Dallas, and they lose that game, it will be safe to say Patrick Mahomes may miss the playoffs this year.
Yeah, salute to my Giants, man. They playing hard, they competing, man. So I'm very happy about that. But now you're right, man. To start off 0-3 will be wild. But I mean, Brady played 20 plus years, had like a 7, 8 year gap of not winning. So it happens, man. It happens. And I don't know. I think it's about like then it comes to organization, personnel, like we always talk about. I think Andy and Patty will always be good. It's always been about them. I think Kelsey was just a cherry on top, but I think it's always about Andy and Patty. And I think they'll bounce back. Maybe not this season, but they'll retool. But I think I'm looking at the Chiefs and I'm looking at Minnesota. When Minnesota's playing great ball right now, and they don't even have all their receivers back yet. And I look at the Chiefs as well. What happens when Worthy is fully back? What happens when our Rice is back? I think it's going to be more weapons. So for the Chiefs to hang with the Eagles and not have those weapons, that's just a great game plan by Spags, by Andy Reid and having Patrick Mahomes as your quarterback. Because like you said, Chris Jones ain't doing nothing for him, and neither is Kelsey. That's a great point, man. I mean, what they say, you trade players a year early and not a year late. So I'm with you on that, man. But let's zip through some headlines real quick, man. Jadeveon Clowney picked up by the Dallas Cowboys. Something or nothing.
Nothing. They scrambling for something. Jerry Jones is trying to win, and he needs to win. He wants to stay relevant, but he's not relevant. One thing I've learned that people don't realize is they're trying to stop the Eagles from running, but it's not stopping them from running. It's stopping them from controlling time of possession. If the Eagles can give 3 yards a carry, Just think about that. I get 3 yards on first. I get 3 yards on second. I get 3 yards on third. Tush push. I get 4 yards on second. I get 4 yards on first. Tush push. So it's not necessarily containing the run. It's stopping the tush push, which I think, honestly, Prince, they're going to ban. So Cowboys, Clowney, no news.
Say less. Caleb Williams, man, another rough one. You know, Detroit bounced back. You know, we talked about offensive coordinators. They've been struggling to get their offense together. Goff has one of them games. So what do you think about Williams and the bounce back of the Lions?
The Bears are the cursed franchise. It's the curse of Walter Payton. They haven't been the same. Jay Cutler came in there, took them to a Super Bowl. That was the Peyton Manning Bowl. They just haven't been the same. They're building their team trying to on offense. They're trying to copy what the Ravens did, where you get a predominantly good black quarterback in college, build him around the team and see if you can win. But that division has too much offense. They need defense. In order to win in the NFC North, you need someone who can stop Josh Jacobs. You need someone who can stop Jahmyr Gibbs. You need someone who can stop Justin Jefferson. If you don't have that defense, then Caleb's just going to be sitting around playing fourth place every year.
Say less, man. Let's talk about these Falcons. Are they for real, man? You know, you got Penix, you got Robinson, you got London. Have the Falcons finally put the pieces together to be competitive?
Not really. The AFC South is a weak division. It's the Bucks versus the world, and the world is weak. You know, when they always would say that America is the land with all the resources and everybody would be hating on them. And that's kind of what it is with the Tampa Bay Bucks. I don't see the Falcons doing anything because they need a better defense. They have the best running back in the division. He might even be the third or fourth best running back in the NFL. It's a start. I expect great numbers from Bijan. I think Bijan may be the leading running back this year. He should get the most yards in fantasy, the most yards in the NFL, but it's not going to lead them to a championship. Michael Penix is not the future.
Say less. Let's move on. The Indianapolis Colts are 2-0. Let me say that one more time. The Colts are 2-0. Are you buying it? Are you selling it, man? Is Daniel Jones and the Colts a real thing, or what we got going on?
You're going to say I'm tripping, but this is my answer. Dun, 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 dun. Indiana Jones, baby.
Man.
Shout out to Danny Dimes. He took so much hits from Saquon, and that was not his fault. That was the Giants' fault. When Saquon was there, what happened to Indiana Jones? He was winning games. Now, guess who he has? Jonathan Taylor, another top 5 running back. You put him in a good system. He has a great offensive line. He has a great defense. The Colts are back. Something to be happy about in Indiana. You got the Pacers looking good going to the finals. You got the Colts looking good. You still got the Indianapolis 500. Listen, Colts a playoff team, man. It's something. They definitely a playoff team.
Say less, man. Listen, listen. I'm a scoring X. You got Saquon out there balling. You got Daniel. Like, so it's tough for me, but you know, salute to Dan. But I think for me, I like when people they get back, and salute to Daniel Jones, staying focused, staying ready, staying prepared. He's shining now. The Jay Jettas, man, the youngest player since Larry Fitzgerald, 500 career receptions. Kid's amazing, man. What do you think Jay Jettas could be when it's all said and done? Where's his ranking going to be in the top? Is he going to crack the top 5, 10?
I think so. I think he'll be a top 5, a talent top 5 player. But you got to think about the class of wide receivers. We have so many great receivers. So I don't see him passing the great Randy Moss. I don't see him passing I love me some me Terrell Owens. And we definitely know he's not passing T.O. So he can possibly surmount maybe Larry, maybe Megatron as far as stats. But legacy, I can't see him passing the legacy of Larry or the legacy of Megatron. So maybe top 6 all time. But if we're going off of stats, yes, he will statistically top. He might even statistically go be third all time. The pace that he's at, I mean, he's doing this with J.J. McCarthy. He's doing this with Sam Darnold. I mean, imagine if he had somebody like a Tom Brady. You know what? This is what I'll say. Let's trade Chris Jones. Let's trade Travis Kelsey in a package for Justin Jefferson to get Patty back to the Super Bowl.
Oh, they don't want the Patty haters don't want that. They don't want that. But real quick, we got about a minute here, man. Jackson Dart, is it just time to get him in there and just say bye bye Russell? What are we thinking now? Is it Jackson Dart era ready?
You know how we always talk about, Braun fans say Jordan fans are living in nostalgia. People say that NFL fans are living in nostalgia when they say Joe Montana is better than Tom Brady. We're in nostalgia. Russ should. There's a lot of quarterbacks that's playing that's living off of their resume, and they're still not built like that. Jackson Dart needs to be starting for the Giants. I generally believe if Jackson Dart was starting, we might have had a different conversation. The Giants could even be 2-0 or 1-1 right now. Russ is good. Rusty is good, but Jackson Dart will, when that youth comes in, it infuses the team. And unfortunately, the Giants don't see that. So till they get it, it may be too late. Midseason, he starts, and then this is just a year of no playoffs.
All right, say less, man. That is the episode. Thanks for tuning in. This episode 127. We got more video clips coming your way. Thanks for supporting. Thanks for subscribing. Prince and Barty, we are out. Till next time.
Yep.